This is Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl. Now from the Collins Aerospace Studio at the Nordloff Center in downtown Rockford, here's your host, Eric Wilson.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl. It's an exciting weekend. We are rolling right along here in Season 10, and we've got a couple of exciting teams ready to face off this weekend. Let's meet them, shall we? First, give a nice round of applause to the Rockford Lutheran Crusaders. Lutheran is another team who has been here every single season, all 10 years. Last year, they ran into the eventual champs, Winnebago, in the second round. Their best finish, though, they've made it to the Elite Eight 3 times. Who knows? Maybe they'll get back there this time around. Matthew is their captain. Introduce us to your starting lineup, Matthew.
I'm Matthew. To my far left is Chloe, then Madeline, and then to my right is Visvi.
Welcome to the Crusaders, taking on the South Beloit Sobos. That's your cue to applaud. Sometimes the audience is right on it with the applause, sometimes not so much. South Beloit's competed in all but one of our seasons here at Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl. Their best finish is the second round in round 4, and Annabelle hopes for an even better finish this time around. Look at that face. She's got some confidence. Introduce us to your starting lineup, Annabelle.
I'm Annabelle. To my far left is Mo, to my left is Marcos, and to my right is Zoe.
Good luck to both of our teams, and as we keep our theme going here in Season 10, all of our first-round matchups are unique. That means these two teams have never competed against one another, so we'll see how this goes. No history to place your bets on. Get your hands on your buzzers because that's how we start our buzzing round. Remember the 2 most important rules. Wait for me to call your name and say your answer loudly and clearly. Good luck, teams. Here we go. What NFL team, whose stadium hosts the NFL Combine, set an NFL record in 2022 by blowing a 33-point halftime lead and plays in Indianapolis? Madeline.
The Colts.
That is correct. They lost 39-36 in overtime to the Vikings. You get the first points of the game. What actress, who starred as Tanya Harding in I, Tanya, plays Harley Quinn in the DC Extended Universe? Visvi.
Margot Robbie.
That's true. Also just starred as Barbie, 2 in a row. What city, whose Museum of the Future has a torus-shaped design, also contains the Burj Khalifa and is the most populous in the United Arab Emirates? Visvi.
Abu Dhabi.
Incorrect. South Beloit, you have a chance to take these points. Burj Khalifa, tallest building in the world at 2,700 feet, is in Dubai. The lead or galena is also a major source of what element? The most reflective metallic element? Matthew.
Chromium.
Incorrect. South Beloit, you have a chance for these points. Zoe.
Aluminum.
Incorrect. It's also pretty handy for killing werewolves. We're talking about silver. What 19th century British poet wrote about an elderly Greek hero who vows to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield in the poem Ulysses? He also wrote The Charge of the Light Brigade. That's Tennyson, Alfred Lord Tennyson. What celestial body was discovered in 1846 based on calculations by Urbain Le Verret to explain anomalies in the orbit of its inner neighbor, Uranus? Matthew.
Neptune.
That is correct. Farthest planet from us, unless you're a Pluto purist. George Gershwin wrote an overture named after what Western Hemisphere country whose musical traditions include the rumba and salsa? Visvi.
Mexico.
Incorrect. South Beloit. These could be your points. Go ahead, Marcos.
Brazil.
Incorrect. Largest island in the Caribbean. We're talking about Cuba. What 19th century author portrayed a Spanish servant's love for a queen in Ruy Blas and described reformed convict Jean Valjean in Les Miserables? Zoe.
Victor Hugo.
That is correct. Wrote The Hunchback of Notre Dame too, and those are South Beloit's first points of the game. Nice job, Zoe. What present-day country, home to the 18th century Durrani Empire, was later contested in the Great Game and lay between Persia and British India? That country's Afghanistan. What recipient of the 1979 Nobel Peace Prize, known for her blue-bordered white sari, was an Albanian nun who founded the Missionaries of Charity? She actually died within days of Princess Diana's death in 1997, Mother Teresa. What adjective describes cells such as animal gametes that contain a single set of chromosomes? Matthew.
Chromatids.
Incorrect. South Beloit. Marcos.
Prokaryotes.
Incorrect. Both solid guesses. Haploids. The 2013 Newbery Medal was given to what novel by Katherine Applegate, which is told from the perspective of a gorilla who lives in a cage at a mall? Matthew.
The one and only Ivan.
You got it. Inspired by a true story, actually. And that buzzer means our time is up for the round. Pretty solid way to start the game. Rockford Lutheran's on top by 30 points. They've got 40. South Beloit, though, is there. They've got 10 as well. We've got plenty of game to play. Our next round is volleyball, and it's right after this break. We had a pretty solid first round here. It's tight, where you'd expect most of our first rounds to be. Only 30 points separate our teams right now. Lutheran has 40, South Beloit has 10. Our volleyball round, contestants, is a back and forth. You can work as a team, but remember the answer has to come from the captains. That means Matthew and Annabelle. And Matthew, you and the Crusaders, because of the coin flip, you'll get the first volleyball question. Are you ready? Here you go. What major river of Eastern Europe flows through Kyiv before emptying into the Black Sea?
Thames.
Incorrect. The Dnipro or the Dnieper River? Here's South Beloit's first question of the round. Epaminondas came from what Boeotian city-state that became the dominant power in Greece after defeating Sparta at the Battle of Leuctra in 371 BC? That was a tough one. And all those landmines in there for me to say, I hope we never have another question like that again. Thebes was the answer. Back over to Lutheran. What adjective can refer to major and minor keys with the same letter name, the lines of longitude, or two lines in the same plane that don't intersect?
Parallel.
That's correct. You got that. And that knew once the wheels started spinning. First points of the round go to Lutheran. Back over to South Beloit. Heated limestone is used to make clinker, a key ingredient in what material that binds together gravel and sand in concrete?
Cement.
That's correct. We're going to give credit to Marcos for that one. Marcos knew that one. Nice. Your first points of the round as well. Back to Lutheran. What character mutters puppy biscuit to himself as he imagines himself as a lawyer and hydroplane pilot in the James Thurber work about his secret life?
Smith.
Incorrect. The title is The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Back to South Beloit. You could close the gap with this question. What author who wrote about a man who writes letters to famous people in his novel Herzog wrote the picaresque novel, The Adventures of Augie March? That was Saul Bellow. Back to Lutheran. What mammalian class that includes marmots and capybaras has members whose incisors never stop growing and also includes rats and mice?
Rodent.
Yes, they are rodents. And you get those points. South Beloit. What name was coined by Benjamin Russell in 1817 to refer to the apparent mood of national harmony during James Monroe's presidency?
Nationalism.
The era of good feelings ran for about a decade until 1825. There, back to Lutheran. What party, which supported the American system of high tariffs and a national bank, was led by Henry Clay and opposed the Democrats in the 1840s?
Federalists.
Incorrect. The Whigs, the Whig Party. And it looks like we are out of time for this volleyball round. And that buzzer confirms what I suspected. Rockford Lutheran expanded its gap a little bit. They've got 60 points now. South Beloit has 20. 40-point game halfway through our game. We're heading into the lightning round after this break, well, in 2 breaks, because right after this, you get to play at home with a Bergstrom bonus question. We'll be right back with the answer.
After leading his team to a 38-35 victory over the Philadelphia Eagles, which NFL quarterback secured himself his 2nd Super Bowl MVP award?
Halftime in an episode of Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl always means maybe one of the most important questions of the game, the Bergstrom bonus question. If you're watching at home, you already saw this. You're waiting for the answer. Our contestants haven't even heard the question yet. So hands on your buzzers. This is a traditional buzz-in question. On the line, though, no points, but pizza and pasta from Lino's. Here we go. Let me know if you know the answer to this. After leading his team to a 38-35 victory over the Philadelphia Eagles, which NFL quarterback secured himself his 2nd Super Bowl MVP award? This
Patrick Mahomes.
That is correct. Nice work. And in the break beforehand, Lutheran was really, they were lobbying to get that pizza this time. And bonus points. What do he and I have in common? That's okay, no bonus points on the line. We're both former Texas Tech students. We're going to take a quick break here and come back with our NECA IBEW lightning round with lots of points on the line. We'll be right back. Only 40 points separate our 2 teams, but there are a lot of points on the line in our NECA IBEW lightning round. 100 points if you run one of these categories. And because of the coin flip, South Beloit gets first choice. So Annabelle, these are the 3 categories this week you get to pick from. Sweetness, American poets, or 4-letter acronyms?
We're going to do acronyms.
You got it. That seems like a consensus from the team. All right, we'll see how that works out for you. Give the usual 4-letter acronym for these organizations and businesses. So I will give you the name of the organization or business. You give me the acronym. You'll have 60 seconds to get through all 10 of these. Simple math. If you get them all right, that's your 100 points. And then Matthew, you and the team will have 30 seconds to get to whatever they don't. And remember, good advice for both teams. You can pass, so don't let that clock eat up too much time on you. The answers have to come from the captain, so work as a team, but I really need to hear those answers from Annabelle and Matthew. Are you ready for the first one, Annabelle? Mm-hmm. Here we go. 4-letter acronyms. Give the usual 4-letter acronym for these organizations and businesses. The main U.S. space agency.
NASA.
Correct. Federal agency that checks workplace safety.
OSHA.
Correct. Military alliance joined by Finland in 2023.
NATO.
Correct. Federal organization founded in 1979 that responds to natural disasters.
Pass.
Sports broadcaster based in Bristol, Connecticut.
ESPN.
Correct. 13-member group of nations with major oil reserves.
Pass.
Pac-12 school whose teams are the Bruins.
Pass.
Largest British bank which was founded in Hong Kong.
Pass.
Protestant group founded by George Williams that operates sports programs.
YMCA.
That's correct. Nonprofit that runs the Voting Rights Project.
Pass.
Federal organization founded in 1979 that responds to, and that's our time to get back to that. So you got 5 of them correct, 50 points added to your score, not too shabby. You're on top now by 10, but there's 50 left for you, Matthew and the team. Half as many points, half as much time to get through them. I will read them as quickly as I can. Are you ready? Give the usual 4-letter acronym for these organizations and businesses. Federal organization founded in...
Pass.
13-member group of nations with major oil reserves.
Pass.
Pac-12 school whose teams are the Bruins.
Pass.
Largest British bank which was founded in Hong Kong.
Pass.
Nonprofit that runs the Voting Rights Project.
Pass.
Federal organization founded in 1979 that responds to natural disasters.
Pass.
And that's our time. Those last few were pretty tough. I'll run down them really quickly. The federal organization responding to natural disasters, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA. The group of nations with major oil reserves, that's OPEC. The Pac-12 school who's the Bruins, that's UCLA. The largest British bank, this one was kind of tough, founded in Hong Kong, HSBC. And that last one, the nonprofit that runs the Voting Rights Project, is the ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union. So Matthew, there are 2 categories left for you and the team to pick from. They are sweetness and American poets.
Sweetness, please.
All right, we'll leave poets or put them to the wayside. Name these sweet tasting things. That's your category. Same rules apply. 60 seconds to run through them. And then Annabelle, you'll have 30 to clean up what they don't. It's a 10-point game right now. South Beloit's on top by 10. This could change with all these points available. Matthew, are you ready? Here's your first one. Name these sweet tasting things. Disaccharide known as table sugar.
Glucose.
Incorrect. Sweet liquid in flowers that hummingbirds drink.
Nectar.
Correct. Simple sugar that is the brain's main fuel.
Pass.
Bodily fluid that can be sweet in people with diabetes.
Insulin.
Incorrect. Food product made by boiling sap from a maple tree.
Syrup.
Correct. Sweet secretion from aphids harvested by some ants.
Pass.
0-calorie natural sweetener extracted from a namesake plant genus.
Pass.
Sweet brown sauce created by a heat-induced chemical reaction.
Caramel.
Correct. Artificial sweetener named for an amino acid that people with PKU avoid.
Lactose.
Incorrect. West African fruit that, when eaten, makes sour foods taste sweet.
Pass.
And that's our time. 3 of them right. You're on top now by 20. So there's a lot left on the board here, Annabelle, but only 30 seconds to get to them, and I will try to read these as quickly as I can. Name these sweet tasting things. Are you ready? Disaccharide known as table sugar.
Sweetener.
Incorrect. Simple sugar that is the brain's main fuel.
Glucose.
That's correct. Bodily fluid that can be sweet in people with diabetes.
Also glucose.
Incorrect. Sweet secretion from aphids harvested by some ants.
Pass.
0-calorie natural sweetener extracted from a namesake, and that's our time. 30 seconds goes by fast, especially when there's 7 left on the board. And those last few were pretty hard. I will go through them as fast as I can. The disaccharide known as table sugar, I think, Matthew, you said glucose. It's sucrose.
Nope.
The bodily fluid that can be sweet in people with diabetes. I feel like someone on South Beloit said this, but Annabelle, you didn't quite buy it. The answer was urine. Yeah, tasting urine was once used as a test for diabetes. Nobody wants that job. Sweet secretion from aphids harvested by some ants is honeydew. The 0-calorie natural sweetener extracted from a namesake plant genus is stevia. The artificial sweetener named for an amino acid that people with PKU avoid, it's after aspartic acid, that's aspartame. And that last one, the West African fruit that when eaten makes sour foods taste sweet, is the miracle fruit or miracle berry. So we got 1 round left of this game to play, and there's only 10 points between our 2 teams. And in our next round, that is less than a question, because each question in the next round is worth 20 points. We'll see how we end things right after this break. It's another close game here at Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl. It's how we like it because it's fun to watch. Maybe our contestants would like a little more cushion between them and their competitors, but it is as close as it gets pretty much here without being a tie. 10 points between Lutheran and South Beloit. Each of the questions in this round, contestants, is worth 20 points. So we could have a lead change here pretty quickly, question for question. We'll see how it goes. It's a buzz-in. Same rules as round 1, other than that point change. And when we're this close, especially, make sure you wait for me to say your name before you give an answer. Hands on your buzzers. Good luck. A seat in the second round is on the line. Here's the first question of the final challenge. What computer devices which send scan codes and have designs including the Dvorak layout may have a home row containing the letters A and L? Chloe.
Keyboard.
That is right. Kind of a weird definition for keyboard. Lutheran's the first on the board this round. What Mexican flowering plant with red and green foliage is named for a Secretary of War who served as the first U.S. minister? Annabelle.
Poinsettia.
That is right, the first U.S. minister to Mexico. What amendment that provided the primary reasoning for the Brown v. Board decision was the Second Reconstruction Amendment and guarantees due process? Annabelle.
The 13th Amendment.
Incorrect. Lutheran, you could take these points. You're off by one, Annabelle. The 14th Amendment. What peninsula, which is separated from Singapore by the Straits of Johor, contains the southernmost portion of Thailand? Annabelle.
Japan.
Incorrect. Lutheran. That was the Malay Peninsula. What Japanese artist who performed Cut Piece is shown in an Annie Leibovitz photo being embraced by her nude husband, John Lennon of the Beatles? Annabelle.
Yoko Ono.
You got it. Some people blame her for breaking up the band. South Beloit is now in the lead. William Shockley and Walter Schottky confusingly both name types of what circuit devices, which ideally allow current to flow in only one direction? Those are diodes. What holiday, commemorated by a Walk for Freedom led by its grandmother Opal Lee, became a federal holiday in 2021 and celebrates emancipation? Zoe.
Juneteenth.
Juneteenth is correct. 2 in a row for South Beloit. A mythical canine called the Shah represents what god who married Nephthys and fought for power with his nephew Horus? Keeley.
Osiris.
Incorrect. South Beloit, you could expand your lead. That was Set or Seth. What man who overcame a severe stutter became king following the abdication of his brother Edward VIII in 1936 and was the father of Elizabeth II? Zoe.
Henry VIII.
Incorrect. Lutheran, you could close the gap with this. That was George VI. What author described Major Osai using a stapler for torture in Anthills of the Savannah and depicted Okonkwo hanging himself in Things Fall Apart? Chinua Achebe. And that is how we end the round. South Beloit pulls off the lead at the end, or pulls into the lead at the end and stays there. Congratulations. You are moving on to the next round. Zoe, you look like you have this disbelief on your face. Never doubt yourself. And Lutheran, I know obviously it's much more fun to win, but we're glad that you played. How many of you are seniors? None of you. That means next season. All of you back, right? Visvi, you and Matthew, I know you swapped out as captains, but bring the whole team back, and we'd love to see you next season. And we hope you had a lot of fun. I know winning's better, but we hope you had some fun. Next week, we hope you come back when Eastland takes on Galena. We'll see you then.